Thank you very much to Toastmaster of the Day, fellow Toastmasters and guests. So this speech is actually a continuation of my previous speech. I talked about in my I think it was like my third last speech, but I talked about how I had to change my exercise routine during the pandemic. Basically, during my a quick recap is during my teenage and college years, I used to be kind of a homebody. I still am, but I didn't get out a lot. I didn't exercise a lot. And that's me on the right there. I was about like, at my heaviest, I was 320 pounds, but now I don't know if something changed and now exercise is just a part of my life. But because the pandemic closed the gyms, I would say that I had to also change my routines. And my previous speech was about how I used kettlebells. I used to use this. I don't know if you can see it. This is a 25-pound. And now I use this, which is a 40-pound kettlebell. And I actually moved it outside because I bought a gym mat. It's getting warmer. I bought a gym mat and I actually work out outside in the morning. It's great. I get to see the parents when they take their kids to school, when they go to work. I say hi to my neighbors. But it's very strength based. You can definitely do some cardio exercises like burpees, but it's definitely strength based. So I wanted to supplement it with something cardio based. I didn't want to be a meathead. No offense to any meathead out there. I wanted to actually have endurance. So I actually picked up running. And the pros is you get to go outside. I love running because you get to see nature. Yeah, around me there's a lot of green and it feels great. When you finish an exercise generally, you just get that rush of endorphins. And it's very monotone in the sense that you just put one foot in front of the other. And I definitely tend to overthink a lot. So it's just me for like 30 minutes. I'm like, okay, put one foot and then do the other one. So I'm not overthinking it. I can listen to an audiobook. It's amazing. The cons is very high impact. I used to, pre-pandemic, I run on the treadmill, but I'm running around my neighborhood. So pavement, I am doing one foot in front of the other, and there's just shock through my knees. I get shin splits because I used to run on the treadmill, and I do kettlebells. I have a lot of endurance. I'm not trying to brag, but I tend to keep. I know if I'm tired, I tend to keep going. I find that I keep going. So it's good for the short term, but I definitely get shin splints and then I have to rest for like a week or so, which on the long term is just stupid, but I can't help it. It's almost like a challenge, like, oh, I'm tired. How do I keep going? And also, you get on friendly dogs. I got bit once, but that's a whole nother speech. And so the alternative for that is rowing, right? As you can see, you probably, if you're in DC, at least that's where I usually see it, you probably see someone outside doing rowing. It looks amazing, and it is a great exercise, which I'll talk about later, but I'm not doing what the guy on the left is doing. I'm not buying a canoe. I'm not going out in the water. I'm not driving to a water place. I'm not doing all that. So an alternative is the on the right, the indoor rowing machine. It's called an ergometer, and actually, an ergometer. During the research of this speech, an ergometer is just anything that kind of measures your muscle, how much is working. So a spin cycle is also like something you see in a Peloton. Those Peloton bikes is also an ergometer, and which is something I didn't really know. But yes, I actually use the model on the right, and it's a great workout. It's very low impact. You don't get anything. Your knees are safe. And it does work. I see different numbers, but 86 to 88% of your muscles, a lot of it is in your leg. There's some upper back, and also like your core is definitely working. So it's an amazing workout. I would say the con is it can be expensive. I definitely went for the expensive one. And it's also you're staying in the same place. You're kind of just moving back and forth in the same place, but I promise you it gets better. And you also need a good form because you can develop lower back problems if you do it wrong. But again, you just have to take it slow. And so how do you actually row? There are 4 steps to it. The first one is the catch. As you can see there, the person is ready. This is the initial phase. The back is straight. The body is forward in the sense that your shoulders have to be in front of your hips and your legs is compressed because you want to get the rod as much to the socket as possible and your arms is extended. The last 2 steps are just to get the rod to the sockets as much as possible. And the drive is where the muscle activation is. You drive with your legs, and then your body's still forward, and then your arms. You want to think of your arms as chain. You're not actually pulling anything. I promise you, the rod will come with you because you're pushing with your legs so much. The rod will just follow you. So you're not actually pulling. You just gotta hold in it there, and the force from your leg kind of does the work for you. And the finish, if you want to think of the body forward as like an 11 on the clock as a 1 to, let's just say 1 o'clock. You want to think of the finish as the 11 o'clock. It's like you're kind of leaning back, but not too much. You've extended your legs. Now you're kind of pulling with your arms, but honestly, you're guiding it because there's still so much force. And you pulling the handlebar to your leg. And then for the recovery, what you want to do is you want to first start to bring your body back to that 1 o'clock position. You want to make sure your shoulders is past your hips. And then by that point, the bar is usually above your leg, farther along than your knees, I mean. So you can now start compressing your body and you go back to the catch. And one of the best things about this is your recovery determines how good your catch is, which determines how good your drive is. So by the finish, you see the result. It's kind of like a investment payoff in like 1 second. Like if you did your recovery well, your catch is better, and that means your drive is better, and you're just smiling. So you are in one place, but I promise you, it feels good. Like if you get a little jolt of like dopamine like every 1 second. So it's amazing. The model I have is called the Avaron. This is what it looks like. It has a lot of features. It's definitely gamified. I definitely shouldn't. It's expensive, but I like it. It's really good. It has a lot of features. There are multiplayer games, and these modes. It makes you feel like you're not actually doing a workout. I have a competitive side to me. I play a lot of games, so you just want to get the points as much as possible. That's another person. They're probably in Canada or something. So you do get that. Oh, I just want to beat this person, but hey, you're getting healthier. And they actually have guided workouts. They have actually sometimes you can do push-ups or even dips. You can use the rail as a dip. So my personal one is called Mount Everest, and it kind of simulates going up a mountain in the sense that the resistance levels keeps going up. And you can also actually do virtual rowing in the sense that you actually, if you want to feel like you're on the water, you can actually pick a scenic route and you go through it. And the last feature is called Pros versus Joes. In this picture, they have the pro Brianne Bertoli, and you can actually see how you match up with her. And they also have boxers, Olympic level runners. It's amazing. And also, it's very space conscious. You can just fold it back up. It fits in your living room anywhere. And I love it. It's amazing. And this is actually my stats as of, I believe, Wednesday or probably yesterday. As you can see, I've worked out 35 times. I've burned around 5,000 calories. I have done around 99,000 meters, 10,000 strokes, 8 hours working out. My calories per hour is 787. The average minute, like it would take me 2 minutes to get to 500 meters, which is it's pretty far. I forget the yards. I believe it's about 500, like 5 football fields. So it'll take me about 2 minutes to row 5 football fields, I think. I don't know. I might be wrong. And 26 strokes per minute. So I really get the value. Again, it's an investment, but I'm using it a lot and I love it. And I hope I I inspire you to, if you don't get it and and you go to a gym and you see it, please try it out. It is an amazing instrument, and yeah, thank me later. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day, and special thanks to Fawaz for your great speech today, titled "Row, Row, Row Your Boat." This speech was for your using presentation software project. That's part of your pathways. I believe you're on level 3 of your path. So kudos to getting that far, and kudos to continuing your path towards completing your pathways. So I think you did a really good job of using the presentation software to help structure and pace your speech. So you did a really good job of sort of formatting your speech to go along with the different slides you had. And as you progress through the slides, also your speech progressed and it would move on to a next topic, or it would dig deeper into a specific topic. So I think you did a really good job of that. And I want to circle back, as Nikki mentioned, you did a really great job of being open and transparent with the rest of the Toastmasters group. You shared about your life, about your experience, and about your evolution in your workout habits and your exercise habits. You persevered through COVID, and actually, the COVID period allowed you to explore other ways to exercise and strengthen your body. And I think you shared a lot of that with us and encouraged us through your experiences to try some of the different exercise routines that you developed through this period of time. I liked how you talked about the pros and cons of each of the different exercise routines that you've done and how each of those had its own dedicated slide. One thing that jumped out to me as we went through your speech was that I don't believe, and I may have missed this, so apologies if I missed it, but I don't believe you did a pros and cons for the kettlebells, and maybe you did, and I just didn't pick up on that. But you did have a pros and cons for running, as well as a pros and cons for the rowing machine. So I thought that was a good add-on and a good leverage of the presentation software to actually focus in on those pros and cons. One thing that I think you could potentially improve upon, and this is the dynamic of doing a virtual presentation where you have a actual presentation software, was when you had the kettlebell section, you pulled up your kettlebells. One was like a 25-pound, and then you showed your evolution to the 40-pound kettlebell. But it was hard to see in the way in which we have our setup. Maybe it was just me as well. When the presentation took most of the screen, I couldn't really see you as well, and so I couldn't see what you were trying to show. That could also be a learning piece for the audience. Or when you're doing a presentation, you may want to alert the audience that they have different ways to control what's shown on their screen, and they may want to do half presentation, half a view of you doing your speech. So that may be one way you could potentially improve your speech moving forward and improve the delivery of the speech with the different items that you have around you as well. A few of your slides were a little bit wordy, so I would try to maybe focus less on the words and focus more on the images. One of my coworkers always tells me that you should try to use as little words as possible and use as many images as possible, and then to talk to the images because those capture the audience's attention a bit more. So you had plenty of images, and I did enjoy that. But maybe try to limit some of the words that were on the slides. Some were like full sentences. You may just want to put some points here or there. But all in all, you had an excellent speech. I definitely see the evolution of your speech, and I see the evolution of your routine as well. You dove deeper into the rowing machine that you got. I learned a new word I looked at while you were speaking called ergometer. So now I know what an ergometer machine is. So thank you for sharing that. And just thank you for sharing the rowing machine that you got into and how it's benefited you, how it tapped into your competitive nature, and how that's encouraged you to become more focused on your fitness and to push through and persevere as well. If I had to end on one way in which I also think you could improve, you were out of time, so that was an issue. But I think your conclusion could have been a little bit stronger to circle back around how your exercise routine evolved, how that impacted you, and then and what you want the audience to take away as the impact for them as well. So I think that could have been a good way to close it out and to just hammer home the point that you were trying to make with the audience. But all in all, great speech, Raj. You're always growing as a speaker. You feel more comfortable when you speak, and I think we see that as an audience as well. So just encourage you to continue to go through your path, and I look forward to seeing you get to the fourth level and then to see what projects and experiences that brings about. And the speeches that we'll get to hear as a result of that. So great job again. Looking forward to future speeches and kudos to completing this path or this level. Thank you.